wait a minute, what if he is gay and I just don't know he's gay? But no, you're not gay.
I'm not bad on a horse.
I cry.
Fuck your favorite movie.
I have no problem saying penis.
I don't think I've been to a full nude strip club.
What you're saying is you didn't watch a lot of Gladiator movies.
Every now and then I would experiment.
If you take kids' movies out of the equation,
my feelings would be hurt. Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
It's good to hear your voice.
Good to see your face.
What are we talking about today?
Well, obviously, we have to mention the fires in Southern California, right?
Oh, my Lord.
It'd be a bad thing if we didn't just at least say, oh, how awful that is, and what everybody is going through is devastating.
It's overwhelmingly bad, and I've been through the fear of wildfires here, where we were like, you're about to get evacuated, like stand by, for like days and days and days. It's so tense, and it's such a scary thing. Like there's something kind of dark about the coverage of all this stuff, I think, and then a twist that it's taken, which is like, oh, look at, it's like some punishing thing for people and their politics. Like this stuff gets twisted around like so crazy now.
Yeah, no, the conspiracy theories. I wanted to have an episode where we talked about how conspiracy theories these days are unbelievable. When we were younger, anybody who had a conspiracy theory or came up with one, or there was even a movie with Mel Gibson called Conspiracy Theory, right? And that was kind of like strange at the time. It was like some guy who had all these different like theories on like, oh, wait, that earthquake, that's NASA doing that, or the government created that earthquake because they're doing whatever, But that was a weird thing back then. Like, oh, yeah, somebody who was conspiracy theories.
It was fringe. It was like, fringe. Tinfoil hat.
Right. And now it's like as soon as something happens, there's just conspiracy theories out the gate. Like, oh, they wanted to burn down the city of LA because they want to rebuild it in a 2.0. If you Google 2028 Los Angeles, it's like there's this thing out there where they have a blueprint for a new city. That's why they wanted this to burn, and it's secretly behind the scenes. It's some government twisty mustache thing. Wow, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, it couldn't have. And then they blame like the governor. This is Newsom's fault. Okay, let's back up to the fact that these embers were blowing 90 mile an hour in 90 mile an hour winds. There's nothing.
But David, he was cool. He greenlit the 5G, and then the 5G everybody knows, and all the windmills. You think it's any coincidence all the windmills they have in Southern California, and now the winds are going crazy? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. 5 gig plus windmill equals Santa Ana winds.
Oh yeah, and so they're running wild right now with conspiracy theories on what happened and who's to blame and this and that. And it's like, oh my God, people, an ember is blowing a mile in a minute. A mile away. Like there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
So growing up and living in Southern California, as I did, we lived in the foothills and the mountains, and we were same thing every few years, every 3 years or so, the whole mountain would go, right? It would be from Big Bear, so like Lake Arrowhead and all that, would move over and be, the Cajon Pass, which is kind of where I was from. Every 3 or 4 or 5 years, it would like the whole mountain burns, right? And it's that whole thing. And it was like a cycle. Right, and then the rains come after that, and then since there's no roots,
mudslides.
The mudslides happen, and so we dealt with that cycle for years and years and years, and we were evacuated once or twice, and my brother and I were one of those people that stayed behind and ignored the evacuation orders, and with the hose, you know what I mean, and we're spraying down embers as they float into the yard, you know what I mean. We were those people, and it's because it's like holy shit, like like your whole life you realize. Even though you can try to, tell yourself it's just stuff, it's just things, you know what I mean? Your life will move on and you'll be fine. But it happens so fast and you don't really think about it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, my guitars and my little things that I've had, I've signed at shows or whatever. It's hard for your mind to let those things go, even though it's just stuff, January is a weird time for this to happen. Normally, the Santa Anas come in like October, you know what I mean? And it's really a bad time or whatever. January, though, bizarre. And, they're saying that wet seasons are wetter, dry seasons are drier, winds are windier. You know what I mean? Everything's getting more extreme in weather. You know, I mean, the whole global warming thing, whether you want to believe in it or not. I mean, obviously, things are changing and it's pretty obvious. Things are getting more extreme. Yeah, climate change in general.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary. It's definitely scary. I've been through certain things like tornado. I was on tour with a band and we were playing a show. And like this we were about to go on stage actually. And then it was like everybody hunkered down and we were in a steel warehouse on a concrete slab. There was no basement. There was nothing. There was no like actual heavy duty furniture or anything to get under. There weren't even like, there was nothing. It was just a big metal building. And we got under like some like folding tables, and we're just like, I started calling people. I called my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Because that's one of those things that can be so fast and so destructive. And it was terrifying. The thing got close, but it destroyed the town that all these kids were from. And they were getting reports of what had just ripped through their town. And then it was like, this storm is still producing tornadoes and another thing is coming right behind it. And we had to get out of the truck a couple times to like move fucking trees off the road. And we just barely got out of there before another line of tornadoes came right through this town. It was like the place was devastated. But it is such a scary thing, like how fast stuff like that can happen. It's nature and it's totally out of your hands. The fire stuff is like that. And when the winds are blowing like that, there is nothing.
Oh, no.
There's just nothing. I keep thinking like, hasn't firefighting technology come further? Can't we deploy like, like carbon dioxide, right? Like a CO2 bomb, like smother it. Just drop a CO2 bomb and just smother it from the inside,
So all of the footage that we're seeing, all the devastation and people they're interviewing and, people are breaking down and stuff. I wanted to ask you before, like, when I was a kid, men didn't cry. I think that was still we were on the brink of that. Things are changing where it's not so effeminate to cry as a man or, that whole thing, and tough men and men don't cry. That's different now, right? Men cry more than they ever have, right? I think more openly and more like comfortable with it. And I wanted to mention this before that like I cry, as I've gotten older, I cry more for sure. 100%. Like it's something with, I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, some sort of chemical thing, something in me as I've gotten older makes me break down faster than I ever have before emotionally.
But like, what's the trigger? Is it like a movie or a sad commercial?
A movie.
Like, is it real life situations that you break down?
It's more like we were just watching a thing earlier, like where there was a cat that somebody found on the side of the road, had a bunch of flies all over it, and had a bunch of broken bones and paws, and you know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, that tears me apart. And they were, they're trying to save it and that stuff. It's like that I would cry, or watching Secret Santa stuff where these people will, give somebody $15,000, secretly somewhere, like a family in need that just, lost their whatever, you know what I mean? And somebody comes along and does something really nice and you see their reaction when they're given something and it means the world to her. I'm like, what I mean? I'm not sobbing like, out loud, but like, or have you ever seen The Notebook, Josh? We can get into this.
When I first met my wife, she was like, let's watch this movie. Oh, it's such a great movie. And I was like, okay. Sat down and watched The Notebook. Fuck The Notebook. Okay. I hate that movie with a flaming passion.
Why?
I watched the whole movie and I'm like, okay. And like, I can't even really remember all that much. I just remember whatever. Okay. This and that. Oh, they love each other. Oh, they're not together. Oh,
you didn't cry at the end of The Notebook?
Of course I did. But I
Oh,
was angry. I was angry.
an
I
angry
was like,
cry.
why did that movie did something to me. That movie was only structured to cause me harm. I
Mm.
didn't enjoy that enough to deal with the shit at the end of that movie. And I was like, I was mad at my girlfriend too. It's like, fuck that movie. I don't ever want to say. And then I felt like an asshole because she's like, I love that movie. And I'm like, fuck your favorite movie. I hate that movie. I don't want to, don't even mention it to me. I don't even want to hear about
Is
that
it,
thing again.
okay, but so
The
is it
Notebook.
because
That's
you
your
don't
favorite movie?
so
What
you
a
don't
piece
like
of shit.
when things give you some sort of an emotional like stress or whatever that you hate that, right? Why is that?
Huh?
Why? Why can't something give you some sort of an emotional like
Because everything in my life gives me an emotional stress. I'm not going to sit down and do it for fucking entertainment.
but isn't that
Does that make sense to you?
yeah, so I know somebody who doesn't they refuse to watch horror films because they're like, "Oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that in my
When
brain. I don't
when
want
I
that
was
entering my
younger,
subconscious." What?
I
But
could
it's
watch
fun.
horror films. No. When I was younger, yes, I could watch. I watched all the Freddy Krueger, blah, blah, whatever. And then, like, I don't know, probably one of the last movies I ever went and saw was Saw in a theater, like horror movies,
That was
scary
great.
movies
Great
in a
movie.
theater. No,
Great movie.
I was deeply disturbed and I got more and more disturbed as time went on, where I couldn't watch, especially if there was any form of torture, which, of course, all these slasher movies have basically got more and more torture. It's like not a fast kill anymore. It's all just, it's just like, let's draw this out and let's make it more excruciating. That stuff does get, I'm a sensitive person and I've gotten more sensitive for some reason as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
And it does get lodged in my brain and I don't watch it. I don't like even just regular scary movies anymore. What's that movie? Like The Grudge? It
Uh-huh.
was like at the time that The Ring and that fucking lady in the attic. I still, every time I open my attic, I got to pull the
She's got
stairs
a
down. I
grudge.
look up. I don't care what
She's
she's got.
holding
She's
a
got those
grudge.
eyes and the hair just
The
over the, and it's
hair.
like the one eye, and it's like,
Yeah, because
can't open my
something
eye big enough
because
to
they
be as
fucking put her in that attic and then she's pissed.
I don't remember whatever happened, but she's like, then she's looking down and it's like the eye.
That's exactly what it is.
And
Damn.
so, and I can't, every time I have to go to any attic, I open it, I am like, God damn it, if I see that fucking chick, I'm going to just die. I will just spontaneously combust. And something about my brain is like, there is a remote possibility that she's up there
Mm-hmm.
and she's gonna come creeping over the opening and look down at me and then it's all fucking over.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And like, I was like, okay, something's wrong with me. I can't do these movies anymore. They get stuck. They get way too stuck. It's not fun. It's not funny.
Okay, what about roller coasters?
I enjoy roller coasters, except I've had a different thing happen, which is more physical in nature. Oh, my neck. Oh, my headache. Oh, I'm motion sick.
Mhm.
I can't do it.
So I love me some roller coasters.
And the inside of me is still this. The neck and the aspirin and where's the?
All
I
right,
need a
so
Quaalude and some Vicodin and like like I don't like working out and like playing sports because it hurts my body. I don't like it. My dad has played football. He's like, I love the crunch. I love the crunch. You hit somebody and
I like a good hit. Yeah.
I like a good hit. Oh, I love that feeling. Nothing like that feeling. I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad, that I'm not a man, but
And
I
you
don't
cry all the
enjoy
time.
any of that. I don't like it. Every time
Mm.
my dad would throw a football at me, I try to catch it, jam my finger. 100% of the, not every toss, but 100% of the time that I engaged with the football being thrown at me, jammed finger, injury,
Okay.
injury. Meanwhile, my stepsister run around. She looks like fucking Joe Montana. Anyway, what were we talking about? How do
Um
kids get more? They're getting like, is it like a thrill? Some bodies are like, oh, I like the motion sickness. It's
oh
fun.
no, no one likes motion sickness.
They're
No,
like,
no, no,
oh,
no.
that's how you know it's working.
We did one of the greatest things that I've ever done. with her, with my wife, is skydiving. I don't know if I ever mentioned this before when we went skydiving.
No,
Yeah,
no,
when
I don't
I
remember this.
see, this is how much of a trooper that my wife is, right? We I won't say where we were, but when I
But like
proposed to her,
okay, yeah.
yeah, so when I proposed, she said yes, right? But I had a whole thing planned. There was a whole
She is a trooper.
she is a trooper.
Is that the trooper part?
No. Oh,
Oh, I'm
because she
sorry.
said yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's how you set it up, I thought.
No. It's more like, so I had planned, okay, I'm going to ask her. I'm assuming she's going to say yes,
Did you
and
ask her while skydiving?
no. But the next morning, I had it scheduled for us to go skydiving, but I didn't tell her. Okay,
So
so
she says yes. Is this like a test?
no,
Like,
but it's
does
like
she really mean yes?
it was
Is she going to
more.
change her mind after I sneak a jump out of a
No,
fucking airplane thing on her?
we took the plunge. We were taking the plunge, Josh, figuratively, and whatever the opposite of figuratively is. So,
Actually,
so then that night, later on that night after I proposed, I'm like, by the way, it was a whole weekend of like, I don't know. And in my head, it was like
extreme
extreme something.
challenges,
Like,
such
I
as
don't know.
the culmination of a dating relationship becoming a engagement.
We had never talked about these things.
That's an extreme.
Never once had we talked about like, hey, let's go skydiving, or like, we weren't doing extreme
Did,
shit ever.
did you talk about getting married?
No.
Before you proposed? You just did it.
Just did it after 3 months of dating. We were only dating for 3 months.
3 months?
Yep. And
what did she do to you?
She put a spell.
She must have.
She cast a
She
spell.
got you.
Yeah.
She got you good.
So I had it planned for the next morning.
3 months? I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
When you know, you know. That's cliche, and it's a cliche thing that everybody says. When you know, you know.
Talk to her.
When you know, you know. And I knew. And so
I knew my wife. I knew.
And you can't explain it to people. You can't.
No.
Somebody's, I don't know how many people have asked me like, oh, how do you know? And it's like, oh my God, I can't explain it. You just know.
It's intangible.
Like, yeah. It's like something about it was like, I have to be with this girl. And I'm picturing the future. I'm picturing years from now. I'm picturing buying a ring. And it was like, oh wait, a ring? How'd that pop in there? I'm on websites all of a sudden, like, how much do engagement rings cost? It just happened somehow. I was like, I don't know.
You didn't want her to get away.
Well, there's kind of that too. But you know what it was? We spent that first summer together, and this kind of goes with the crying thing. We spent that first summer together. We were like inseparable. Like we were together just every minute, right? And we spent that summer together. Okay. She had to go back to the East Coast for school again. When she left and she drove away, that last time that she was like leaving me to go, like I'm never going to see her, or I don't know when I was going to see her again.
But you were going to long distance.
Yeah,
you were committed to doing a long distance
but
thing.
But then I walked back into my house. I walked into my bedroom and I fucking face planted right on my bed in my pillow, and I just cried into my pillow for like, I don't know how long, 30 minutes, like bawling. Like somebody literally just like, I don't know,
ripped your heart out.
Just ripped. Yeah. And
it hurts.
And it was that bad. And I think maybe that was probably when I started to realize like, I do not want to be without her. And I started looking at rings and shit. And then the proposal happened, shortly kind of after that. But I cried like a total baby.
Like a baby. Yeah. Which is natural.
Like,
it's a natural thing.
Is it?
Yeah. It's natural. Why does it exist? How often do you feel better after you cry?
Oh, yeah. All the time. I mean,
it's there
not
for
like
a reason.
I don't cry all the time, but if the Notebook's on, it's coming. You know what I mean? That's coming.
I just get a fit of rage, and then I become like the worst. I become the worst human being imaginable. You're making me thirsty.
So, well, let's go ahead and see. Oh, I thought maybe it'd be an episode 2 mug or something. No.
Oh gosh. Well,
yeah.
no.
Okay. Maybe next Christmas.
We gotta wait. We'll see. Yeah, this is from my time at a dude ranch with my dad and my brother several years ago.
What is that exactly?
You go and you kind of learn how to be to be on a working ranch. So you go kind of have the I don't know what you call them, cowboys, cow people,
It's like City
cow
Slickers.
cow
City Slickers, the
people.
movie.
It is like City Slickers.
Okay.
I hadn't seen that because apparently I don't watch any movies ever. It seems that
Apparently,
way whenever we talk.
or I
I know
watch too many. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's not just you though. I'm definitely like not even my wife because I told my wife I was like I don't want to not have my coffee. Like what's the coffee gonna be like? I need my coffee, and I was thinking about bringing. I brought like a little AeroPress. Do you know what an AeroPress is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I brought that, but I was very tempted to bring my like Nespresso machine.
To the Dude
Yeah,
Ranch.
to the dude ranch, and she was like, "How much?" Like she thought I was doing like a funny homage to City Slickers. I was like, "I don't know. Is that like a?" She's like, and then she made me watch City Slickers before I went to the dude ranch.
Oh, so you watched it before you went?
I
Okay.
did, yeah, yeah, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely me at the dude ranch." I mean, I'm not bad on a horse. I get a little nervous when we start getting into like a real fast trot. Galloping is like terrifying. Like that's terrifying. Have you ridden a horse?
So, and I grew up near them when we had land around us and people had horses and things around us. But yeah, I've never ridden a horse. I think they're like magnificent animals. They're
They
just
are.
magnificent. Like, yeah.
I don't have the right energy for horses. You know, they say that about horses. They like feel a person's energy
Mm,
more
mm-hmm,
so than like almost any other animal. You know, or it's more evident. They use them in forms of therapy to
mm.
help people kind of re resonate, right, or like re regulate their nervous systems because the animal and the therapist can watch how the animal's interacting with the human and kind of help coach. But they're used in a form of there's like
Mm.
equine therapy,
Yeah,
which I
they
think I would
always
fail that.
with those big eyes. It looks like they're just like looking into your soul. You know, when they look at you.
They are.
Yeah.
That's a proven fact.
Yeah. Okay. I believe
They
it.
look right in, and when they look at me, they do not like what they see.
Mm. It's like the ring, the little girl in the ring. Horses don't do well around her. They're like freaked out and they know what's going on.
They'd
So
absolutely be freaked out. I mean,
yeah.
I'm freaked out just thinking about the girl from the ring.
Yeah. I love that movie.
I'm getting like a flashback to that movie now. See,
Hey,
that's the one movie I did see in the last 20 years or so.
see it in the theater.
I think I must have. I think so. There was a period in time when I was actually going to the movie theater. It was like an activity you would do. At one time, I had a girlfriend who like she loved going to the movie theater. We'd go to those like there's like the $2 theater where they play
Uh,
movies that were old.
matinee.
Anytime it was just like a cheap. The movies were old, like they'd been out for a long time. So me, because I'm not sitting at like the cutting edge of pop culture, I could wait 8 months to go see a movie, and then you pay $2. One time we watched 3 movies. We just like the whole day. We just watched movies in the movie theater, like sitting at like binge watching, but in an actual theater.
But did you keep paying or did you just keep
Yeah,
going
well, we
from
kept.
theater to
Uh,
theater?
we
Oh,
were
okay.
honest. We paid, but it was also like $2 a movie or something.
Yeah,
It was
it's cheap
super
enough.
cheap.
Yeah.
It was lovely. I enjoyed that. I used to be a bloke what would see a film.
Oh yeah. We used to. I mean, yeah, that was the thing, right? I mean, we used to do films and go to movies and go to premieres and openings and stand in lines like Star Wars and all that. What Laura and I haven't been to the movies. We said this the other day. 2017.
Laura,
It's been
your wife, your lovely
my
wife.
my wife. Yeah, we haven't been to the movies since. Yeah, it's been like 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Um, because it's just I don't understand how people do it that have kids, especially, right? Because it's ridiculously expensive. It's like $20 a person to get in now. Plus, you got kids. Everybody's getting popcorn and red vines and drinks and whatever else, which are all ridiculously priced. Just to get a bottle of water, it's like $5 or some bullshit price.
It might as well be like a strip club. Not that I frequent strip
Yeah.
clubs, but every now and then you got a bachelor party or something that you're going to, and it's kind of compulsory. I don't like strip clubs, by the way. Like, I'm not just saying that because my wife is watching. I don't enjoy strip clubs. I never did. I never went through that
I'm not a
phase.
strip club guy.
Skeeves me out. Sorry. And you can't avoid it with the thing. Like I abstained from a few bachelor parties because I was like, I just don't want to do that. I'm sorry. It's super weird and creepy. And I don't even want to like support this. What is this ritual? What is this ritual, David? I'm
So,
getting married. I'm going to be without whatever sexual something for the rest of my life, I guess. Is that why people get married? That seems
oh,
weird.
that whole thing is,
And
yeah,
it's like, oh, I got
bizarre.
to go have some crazy sex thing because I'm doing whatever. And like, I'm sorry. I'm not, first of all, I'm not interested. Like, just to see, a naked lady moving it and shaking it, fine, right? I'll be more interested in like the dance moves and like the power of working the pole, you
The
know,
art. Oh, the
the
art of
art
it.
of
Okay.
it, the art
Mm-hmm.
of it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be coy, like, oh, I read Playboy for the magazines. I mean, like, that's interesting to me. How people are like, it's like watching an athlete, you know, but the like, it's so creepy, like the men all lining up, watching it, and then like, I don't want to jointly participate in even sexual like voyeurism with other people, right? If I'm going to be like a voyeur, like I'm going to do it privately. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
maybe outside your window while
Right.
you're getting ready for bed. I'm not going to go do it in a place where there's a bunch of other dudes, doing it as a communal activity. I find it very strange. I also don't get a thrill when somebody's like giving me attention as I hand out money. Like, no, you got to like me for me.
Yeah.
My
So I've
ego
been to my
doesn't like allow
share.
this.
Yeah. I don't, people think I'm this guy and I'm not this guy just because I have no problem saying penis or cock or talking about sex or whatever, all that stuff. That's kind
We're
of
not
my
talking
thing.
gay strip club. I mean,
No,
male
no,
strip
no, no,
clubs. I mean,
no,
not
no.
don't doesn't have to be gay. I just mean, we're not talking male strip clubs, right? We're
I am
talking
not. No, but I've
because
been
you
to my
just mentioned
share.
penis and cock, which was like the first thing that your mind.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just,
It's
yeah,
okay.
because
It's
for some
okay.
reason
I
I don't
mean,
want to say
have you been to a
vagina.
female
You know what I
strip
mean?
club?
So yes, I've been to my share of strip
What'd you think
clubs.
of that when you went to the female strip club? I don't
So
understand your take on the male strip club now, but the female strip club, how was that for you?
I I am with you. And again, people think I'm the opposite guy.
Mhm.
I'm it doesn't do anything for me. Like in a sexual way, it does nothing for me.
Yeah.
And I have no problem going. I mean, I've been to many, with friends or whatever, and usually it's fun for me to see the reaction of somebody who doesn't go very often or who's never been.
Oh, well, then
That's
I would be
different.
a blast. I would be a blast for you. I had a lady come like sit like there's like sat on my lap. I was there. It was a bachelor party. Some other guy, right? Uh, and like she came and sat on my leg, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Were
And
you
she was
married?
like, yes."
Okay.
Uh, and this was, but it didn't matter if I went when I wasn't married. I
Right.
would not. I'm not, because then I'm just like I don't have the money to just throw a bunch of money. Or then like the waitress will come around and they're not the strippers, but they're like, "Here's a bottle of water. You have to buy two. They're
Yeah.
$10 a bottle." I'm like, $10 for like a little Aquafina? Like
Yeah.
what
Oh, you're
what
blowing
what
some money. You're blowing some
what
coin
for?
in
And
the
then like
strip
I
club.
was like, "Okay, here's $10 for one freaking bottle of water." It's like, "What? No tip?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong building. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna go outside." There were beers in the trunk of the
mhm.
car, and I just sat outside, and periodically the bros would come out because we were all in bands. We were on like a small independent label. Nobody had any money of any sort except for the guy who ran the label who was there like
Mm.
helping us. But he came out, we went to the car, and I'd be like, "What's up, buddy? You need a drink?" I was bartending from the trunk of the car for and every time a guy come out,
Nice.
I'd have another beer.
So two different things though, right? A strip club, like a topless or full nude strip club, totally different than a in someone's living room bachelor party with
I've n-
strippers,
I've
that whole
never
thing. Two different things. You
I've
never done that?
never experienced the, private dancer thing. And then I've never been to like a full nude. I don't think I've been to a full nude strip club. Not, I just can't remember that being a thing. Most places I went, I think it was only topless.
It's just not. I understand the purpose they serve for men
What
or
is the
whatever.
purpose?
I
What is
mean,
it?
people, I mean, they got their fantasies, they got their thing, that they got to fulfill, whatever it is, or sexual, whatever desires, and it's still, to me, it's almost like worse, right? If you have some sort of like, oh, I'm lonely and I wish I had a woman to go see that, to me, it would make it worse. Afterwards, I'd go home alone and think I feel even shittier than I did before I went in. That's how I would look at it, right? But I've never been kind of like that desperate, kind of lonely guy, whatever. So I've been to them, and I've looked at the whole thing a little differently, not as like a, I don't have a problem with the establishment or that whole thing, but some of the guys and the men you see in these places that are sitting off in the corner by themselves, just the way they're, kind of just alone in the shadows, looking at the women in a certain way, that always creeps me out and weirds me out in a way where it's like, okay, that's the shady or seedy side of it. The woman being naked, dancing around a pole or whatever, I don't see that as like, okay, this is seedy. It's the weird solo ogling men
Where do you
that,
go be weird and solo? Where do you go be weird and solo in a
at a
strip
strip
club?
club.
Because I
That's
see
what
them like all gathered around the stage or something. Like
Oh
where are they
no,
going to go be
you'll see
weird
the
and
dudes that
solo?
are in the back, or they're not on the side. They're just kind of by themselves. They came by themselves, and whatever. I mean, if that's your thing. But those are the ones where I feel like, oh, like I don't want to associate myself with that guy or being that guy or whatever. Being there with some friends, especially again, if you take a girl that's never been to one, and you see their reaction to the whole thing, it's funny. And
Girls, yeah, I've never gone with a female.
that's
They
fun. That's fun.
That's fun.
It is fun. It's funner because I'm more interested in the reaction of her rather than, hey, look at these
Do
naked.
you want her to
Because
have a
after five
sexual?
minutes, no,
Do you want her to
no,
have a
no, 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 no,
sexual
no,
response? Like, oh, I like this.
no,
This
no,
is
no, no. And
hot.
I'm not talking about like taking my wife or a girlfriend or anything. It's more like my brother's girlfriend or my buddy's girlfriend or
You
whatever.
want to
Like
take
comes
your brother's
along.
girlfriend. You enjoy taking your brother's girlfriend to the strip club, is
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
no,
I'm
no.
just trying to understand.
I'm
I just
saying here's an example. My brother and I go to the strip club, and his girlfriend came. My buddy that lives in Vegas. We go to a strip club. His girlfriend came, right, and she had never been. And it's like the judgment of this, the idea they have in their head before we go is like, oh, these girls, how could they do this? It's degrading. It's this and that. But for the most part, it's not. You go in, yeah, the women are naked and they're walking around, but after 5 minutes of that, you're so desensitized to it, or at least I am. After 5 minutes, you're kind of like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like they're walking around everywhere. And then it turns into the girls usually saying, like, starting to judge, right? Like, ooh, I like her boobies. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't like her boobies so much. Oh, I like her boobies. Oh, I wish I had her boobies. And it's like very like clinical almost, right? It's not a sexual thing. It's more just kind of like an observational, like, oh yeah, like I like the way she dances, or oh, I like her shoes. Stuff that
uh-huh.
okay,
I like her
that's funny
shoes.
to me. To see that reaction people have.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I haven't done that. I went the first time I ever went, it was like getting kind of late. It was me and two roommates. We were like, what are you guys? You want to do something? We should do something. We're all here. Let's do something. And then somebody was like, let's go to a strip club. I was like, I've never been to none of us. Well, none of the three of us had ever been to a strip club. And it was like, do you want to go? I was like, I don't know. I guess not
you got
really.
to sure at least
But like
once.
some point I should do this
Yeah,
because people do this. It's a thing guys do, right? So
yeah.
let me go try on my guy suit, go be a dude. And I didn't like it.
So
I
did you
don't
get a
dude
did you get a
well.
lap dance? Did
I
you get
don't
a
dude well.
private lap dance?
No,
No.
no.
So okay, I've had my share of private lap dances, and
Why?
instead of it being like a ooh, this is exciting, and ooh, I'm like somehow getting off on this. The whole time I'm more like, oh,
Like
so where
having a
you?
conversation,
Yeah, I'm
right?
more like, so where are you from? How did you get into this line of work? You know what I
That'd
mean?
be
And it's like,
me.
oh,
I'd
you're
be
going to
like,
school? Oh, what are you studying? And like, yeah, the whole time it's more like I'm more fascinated by how they got there, how they're in this situation. You know what I mean? Even though I'm the one giving the money, you know what I mean? I don't judge them for like, oh wow, like you poor girl, because they're making
No,
money, right?
it's a job,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
It's a
job.
job.
But I'm
I
more like in that way where it's like, oh yeah, I can appreciate how you're grinding kind of close to me or around me or hovering, and you're doing your thing, and no touching and all that. Because it's like, all right, well, how far can this go sitting in this room inside of a public establishment with a bunch of other people sitting? You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. And you do spend a lot of money, but as long as you're mentally prepared for it, we're going to go to the titty bar and I'm going to blow $100 just the way it is. And whatever. Okay. Going to a bachelor party though, where they're there in private in a room with a bunch of dudes standing in a circle and they're kind of going around doing stuff.
like in somebody's house, like in a private
Yes.
residence, you mean?
I've
Oh,
been to my share.
I've never
Oh,
been to anything like that.
yeah,
But
those
I've
get
heard stories.
crazy.
I'm like, that's the stuff that I think I have talked to girlfriends about that. And they're like, oh, strip clubs are just whatever. Like nothing really happens. And I'm like, I
Yes.
think that's probably true for most actual strip clubs. But from what I've heard, these things that happen at like in private at somebody's house, like I think it goes a lot further. I'd be really surprised if like, oh, like if my sister was like, oh yeah, my boyfriend or my husband's going to his buddy's bachelor party over at his friend's house. Be like, you're cool with that, huh? You think that's like they'd be like, it's the same thing. It's just a stripper at like a strip club. It's just more
It's not.
convenient. I'm like,
No.
I don't think so. From what I've heard, it's
No.
like there's a different set of rules or lack of rules or whatever.
Oh, there's all kinds of different,
Basically
and
prostitution.
depending, I mean, yes and
Can
no.
be.
It can be, right? I guess, but it's more just the acts that they can perform. Like especially if two of them are there, and there's,
Two,
you're paying for different. It's never just one girl. There's always like usually two because it's safer. And they usually have a guy that is escorting them or a driver who's waiting just outside of the room. It's always usually that they don't come alone. Usually, I mean, it's been a while since I've been to one of these things, but they didn't used to come alone. And they're
well,
usually
I always
big
envisioned
dudes.
like a dude and
No.
one female
Well, I think
dancer.
that can happen, but I think when you have 20, 30 dudes standing in a room, one girl, it's too, you need another. And so, but they do various different acts that you don't see in a strip club and using different food items and different just things, right? Where yeah. And it doesn't do, it's more disturbing to me, and I've been to my share, like with my brother, like even, like, my brother back in the day, man, they had a party house. But anyway, it's not for me. I don't judge people who are into certain things like that or whatever, but it's never ever done anything for me ever where I'm like, ooh, I want that, I need that.
Yeah, I don't, I don't like, I don't like participating in stuff like that with bunch. That doesn't seem like a group activity to me.
But
Like,
even in private, even if it was just me by myself, I would never, you know what I mean, like have
oh
a
yeah, yeah,
that.
right. Like,
Like,
I would never be like, oh, I'm in a hotel room. Let me dial up a
right.
person to come see me in my room. It's just
Yeah.
one on one. Like,
Again, no judgment, no judging. People do that all the time and whatever, more power to you. But for me, it's like, I think if I was at that point, I'd be feeling pretty lonely in some way. And then I'd feel even lonelier afterwards, I think, you know.
I, I don't, I don't think I'd have any. I mean, I can't imagine having like it doesn't, it doesn't do it for me. I
Yeah.
can't imagine it doing it for me, but let's say that it did. I think I would then be like too scared. Like
Or,
somebody's gonna
or broke, you know
rob
what I mean?
me or blackmail me or something, like that. I'm too nervous for most of life. I'm just doesn't really work.
Yeah, I don't have that. It's just more kind of like been there, done that. We had that on the last episode or whatever. And that's a good been there, done that. Like been to the strip clubs, done the bachelor party thing. Eh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We went from movie theater to strip club pretty quickly.
The movie theater thing, how have they survived? I guess there was if you got through the pandemic, then there was a hey, let's resume normality and go to the theater where we can congregate, like right? But around here, there was a theater that like it was a fairly new building or it had been like taken over by new management like right before the pandemic. And then They were hosting church for a while.
Oh, yeah.
In there, like they
Sermons
could do that.
and if you take kids movies out of the equation,
Yeah.
children's entertainment, that they would all be banked. They would all be shut down by now.
That's
Every
the
one
only
of them.
time I go. I do sometimes do like a date day with my daughter, and that's it. Just anytime I take her out for a movie date, $75, easy. Just the two of us, $75, just for it.
So if you're a family
see
of
a movie.
2 kids, like 4, you, your wife, and 2 kids, 4 people, it's over $100 easily. I don't get it.
That's without getting all kinds of stuff either. Like you could go nuts in there.
Yeah.
But
if you have kids and you need to do things with your kids, you need to do something. So then people spend the money on that. But I think, you take these kids, and the superhero movies kept these movie theater chains afloat for a long time. The Marvel and DC movies for years, right? Like everybody's going to those things and they're raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. Then it started to, I think, lately kind of drop off, where it's like, all right, we're all kind of a little overloaded on the DC Marvel superhero genre, I think.
Right. Or the experience is so different too, aside from just like the like, I don't know what we consider the quality of these films to have been. But I used to go, you'd have to go like an hour or two early to just make sure you got tickets. I'd move back east. And it was like, let's go see this movie. This is the only place it's playing. It was like, Master and Commander, maybe?
I hated that movie. Oh, awfully boring movie.
Another like The Big Wave
sort of
movie.
Hundreds of years ago, Big Wave. Yeah. And I screened that movie. We screened that movie because he used to get us into movies before they came out. And I stood up in my chair and I yelled at the screen, just fucking end this misery. Like, and he was like looking at me like, I'm never bringing you to a screening again. The thing we haven't touched on though, Josh, so you know me, movie theaters have cooties, right? And not just the cooties of the seats and the chairs and the floor and everything else, but the cooties
wish here
of
in this moment you could snap back, run a quick clip, insert a quick clip of episode 2 or whatever that is, where you're like, juicy, where you're talking about sitting in some juice, and like you say juice. I wish we had a juice counter.
Sure, we can add that. And so years before COVID, I used to
David
complain.
Might have OCD is the point.
Yeah. I used to complain to Bleep. I would text Bleep all the time and say, like, for the love of God, your theater chain or whatever, it needs to like hand out masks to people as they walk in the door, and you can put shit on them, like advertisements on them, like, hey, there's another movie coming up, and in June 23rd, it can be on the mask, right? It's an advertising thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I was texting him. I'm like, dude, please, because we were at that point years before COVID,
right?
We were starting to wear masks. Because we wear masks on planes. You know what I mean? And we would start bringing masks in theaters, because there's inevitably when you're in a theater, everybody's coughing, sneezing all around you in a movie theater. And every single zombie movie you see, or some sort of movie where there's like a pathogen that spreads, it's always like they show everybody in a movie theater, they show the one asshole coughing, right? And like everybody in the theater gets it. I understand wearing a mask is supposed to be preventing it from spreading, not from you getting. I get that. It's not lost on me.
Yeah, but why not? Why not be kind and take care of other people? I mean, some things it can prevent you from getting too. Yeah,
a little bit. Some droplets are floating around. Maybe they hit the mask rather than going.
Just a little bit of an extra barrier, right? Like,
yeah, a little bit makes me feel at least.
It's not going to stop you from getting anything.
But if everybody's putting them on. If everybody's putting them on when you're in a confined space like that, because at least on a plane, they have like the filtration system that's supposed to filter the air every so many minutes or whatever it is, right? And they go through like charcoal filters and all that. Movie theaters, though, like, I don't know. And so we
was a lot of contact.
Yeah.
High contact surfaces and like.
Yeah, that too. And it's, okay, don't get me started on the fucking, they can't come up with some special packaging from movie theater candy. Don't tell me you can't figure that shit out. Why does it have to be the loudest plastic fucking wrappers on the red vines or whatever else people are opening up? right behind you for 10 minutes because it's dark and they can't see, and the movie's going. Come up with a different way to package those things for movie theaters where it's not that loud ass plastic. I used to text him these things all the time, like these ideas.
You're smart. Yeah.
Then COVID hit, and I was like, oh shit. See, now you guys got to be handing out fucking masks. You know what I mean? That whole time, even, I mean, months after, the vaccine was available, I'm like, just have fucking masks available for when people go in there. Like, so we haven't been there since 2017. And I don't miss it. I like you. I'll wait till shit comes out on streaming or whatever, or pay the $4.99 or rent it once it's on, some sort of streaming service and whatever. And I have a big we have an 85-inch, like
that's like the size of the movie theater I went to in Wayne, New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised people still go outside of kids. When you have your kids, you want to take them places. I get it. But outside of that,
that's a different story.
But you have this weird thing. Okay, now I'm going to throw this out there, Joshua, that I had some close friends. I mentioned how you said something about, hey, can I, should we interview some of my ex-girlfriends? And as soon as I said that, they go, is he gay? And I thought, oh,
interesting.
Okay.
Why?
I'm like, no, but now that you mention it, that is a thing that guys that have to remain friends with every one of their fucking exes. That is,
it's not every single one. It's not every single one. It's not. It's a lot of them, but it is majority. Yeah, yeah.
I do not speak to a single ex in my life. Not a single one. I don't have their contact info.
Why would that be affiliated with homosexuality?
Because
what is the link?
No, but that is, I think you hear about that before guys come out, like they remain friends. They remain friends with their girlfriends, and that is a thing. That's, and whether it's a stereotype or not, it's kind of a stereotype. But
I've never heard of that one.
We're not going into that right now. You're not, you don't have to explain your sexual orientation, Josh.
No,
but it is interesting. You have to admit that's not the one, that it's interesting that you talk to so many of them and keep in touch with them. And two, that Heather's okay with it.
It's not like every night.
Philippe is okay with it, or your wife is okay with it. Like, she doesn't care that that doesn't bother her in any way, shape, or form.
I think that I don't think it does. I mean, we've talked about it. I think it always helps when she has met them. So like if I'm in town and like I want to make sure I don't want it to be some like secret weird thing, right? Like I want her to know the person as a person and be like, yes, this is my friend, and like, yes, we have this history. Like I don't conceal things like that. Especially if I want to continue being friends. And if she said to me that it bothered her, nowadays where I'm at now, I'd have to say like, okay, and defer to, the marriage and my wife, right? But when I was younger, if somebody was like, I don't like that, I think I'd be like, well, screw you then. Like, you don't get to control me, But my wife is very, very secure like that. Like, it's hypocritical. But if she had close contact with her exes,
that's where I was going.
I would probably be insecure. Yeah.
Right.
I know my own relationships with my exes isn't going to go into a territory where it's like, let's rekindle the romance, it's not about that. So I know in my own relationship, it's 0% about that. My relationships with exes. But I think because it is so common with people that they're like, oh, maybe I've got a thing. Or if she suddenly started to rekindle with an ex, like if I came in to the relationship and she was like, I'm still friends with so-and-so. We've been friends forever. We'll always be friends. I think I'd be able to say like, you know what? Yeah, I've got those people in my life too. Like I get it. But if all of a sudden it was like, we're going through a rough patch and she's like, oh, I'm just checking out my ex-boyfriend on Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not start up a friendship right now. Right. But like when you've been friends for a long time,
I don't have like disdain or anything from my exes in any way. It's just, I don't think about them. They're not in my life. They're not, but it's not like, oh my God, that bitch. You know what I mean? And I hate her. And I don't have any of that. It's not even in my brain. I don't even think about them or ever.
I just never would have thought of that. So I've had people think that I was gay. Like that's been following me around for a long, long time. It's something that, and I've had different people explain why. So like when I lived in the Northeast, I didn't have like the machismo and I didn't do sports and I was more into music and art and, you know, I just didn't like really connect as much with men. So like the other like adult males in my family, because it was like all they ever wanted to do was like, let's talk about sports. And I'm like, fucking cares. It's just 0% interest. And then when people were like critical that I didn't want to participate in the spectating of sports, because I was like, I'm not really interested. And then they were hostile and shitty to me. I'd be even more like, well, fuck you, you know? But like, I wasn't going to say that to adults in my family. I'd be like, why are they so mean about it? You know? And then I'd be sensitive and like my feelings would be hurt. But I'd have girlfriends and like I'd have guys react like when they would meet like I worked on a crew one summer like painting houses, and my girlfriend came to visit me. Like she brought me lunch one day
With your shirt off or on?
my shirt was on.
It was on.
My shirt
Okay.
was on.
Okay.
And she came and like, you know, she looked good. You know, she was, and I like, I mean, regularly have very, very attractive girlfriends.
Did she give you lemonade?
Is this some kind of reference or
I don't
joke
know.
that I said?
I'm just curious.
Like, I don't know what that means.
Did she
Is
give
that like
you
a code
while you're
word?
painting in the
Some
hot
kind of
sun?
like Beyonce thing?
And
I don't
then she
know.
gives you
It was
some
before
lemonade.
Beyonce.
I'm just curious. I'm trying
I
to set
don't
the
remember
scene.
her bringing
Okay. No lemonade. Check.
a
Got it.
drink, but she brought me, you know, she used to make me I loved her sandwiches. She would make me sandwiches. She made the best sandwiches. She
What's
wasn't,
that? What's the
she
best
wasn't
sandwich?
screwing around. You know how people like the bread to meat ratios all fucked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a
Like
good.
she knew how to make a goddamn sandwich.
Oof.
Like she put the right amount of stuff on it.
It's important.
And then she'd even be like, oh, what do you like? She's like, I like to put little crunchies on it, like salad topping. I'm like, I love crunchies in my salad.
You
Sometimes
didn't
I
even
put,
know
like,
you did.
No, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But like every now and then I would experiment.
Yeah. Okay. So
Put, like,
your shirt was
put some
on
Doritos on.
and
I'd be like,
sandwiches.
oh my God. And she brought me a wonderful sandwich. And she's looking smoking hot, you know, and I'm off with her on the lawn of the house that we're painting, and everybody else in the crew is like off like under a shady tree, like, and they like all are like, you know, and then afterwards, I didn't know them well enough, but my friend was the foreman of this crew, and I heard them start like busting out laughing for a moment, and then afterwards, after she left, I was like, what was that all about? And the friend, my buddy, was like, oh, I don't want to tell you. I was like, what happened? He's like, oh, well, they saw your girlfriend. The one guy was just like, he must have a really big dick.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, but I don't think they were like, he's obviously gay because he has a hot girlfriend.
But you could have had a big dick and been gay.
It's possible.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
You know, like there's nothing about that would preclude one from the other. But I just, the idea that people would look at me and they'd be like, how did he get that girl? Right. And so on. It's like, so it's a backhanded compliment because it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also dumb guy shit. Like, when I went to Southern California, I was like, what was it about me that made you? Because I've heard this before. Like, what is it about me? And it was anything from like, well, you have blonde hair. I'm like, blonde hair makes you gay? I'm like, that's the fucking dumbest thing I ever heard. Okay, what else? Like, you talk with your hands, you know?
Okay.
You're like, you were always talking with your hands. So I'm like, what is that? It's like, I grew up in New Jersey. Like, it's very normal there, you know? Like you do. And I do talk with my hands a lot. But I was like, what is that? It's associated with homosexuality? I don't understand. Like, is there anything else? They're like, well, your girlfriend wasn't actually here. I'm like, right, because she was in New Jersey. It's a long distance relationship.
It's all coming together.
Anything else, you know? And then it was like, I don't know, you just seemed like very sensitive. You played the piano. Piano is gay?
You can't catch a football without breaking your finger every time.
Well, they didn't know that,
Okay.
but back in the East, yes, I already made that point. The connection was you got a thing with sports. You're not a sports guy, you know.
What
I'm
did
like,
it
I
have?
don't give a shit about sports.
Did it have
Fuck
anything
that.
to do with you?
And then meanwhile, watch those guys playing football. There's like, okay, let's sit down, family. Let's sit down, men in the family. Let's sit down and watch football.
Yeah, because
The
it's
most
fucking
masculine
awesome.
thing ever. Or let's watch wrestling.
I mean,
Guys are all fucking pawing each other under their ball sacks in between. Like, let me put my hands between the guy's legs. Let me pat this dude on the ass. Let me do this. Like, why am I grabbing a guy's butt? Like, this looks way more what you're describing than what, like, because I play piano, but you guys get around and you sit down
and do the
and
reach
you
around.
watch men fucking touch each other and grunt. Get the fuck out of here.
So okay. So what you're saying is you didn't watch a lot of gladiator movies, right?
A lot of gladiator movies? Are there a lot of gladiator movies?
Do you like gladiator movies? I'm not saying
Is this a genre?
Yeah, gladiator movies.
I know the one Gladiator with Russell Crowe. This is the second Russell Crowe
that's actually
movie
called
we're referencing.
Gladiator. No, I mean you can go back.
This is a genre? I don't know what you're even talking about.
Yeah, like chariot races, you know what I mean? Like back in the day.
From like the 20s?
Okay, we
like
can
Ben-Hur?
Exactly. Yeah, like
I never saw it.
Okay.
Never saw it.
All right, so you didn't watch
But what does it mean
movies.
if you like gladiator movies and if you like a little Ben-Hur?
All a little slicked up and they were all muscle bound and you know what I mean? And they had like a pretty kind of mascara and the eyeliner and shit going on and most of them were not straight. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, these accoutrements and things that people do to get dolled up and look better, right?
Accoutrement.
Like, why? Yeah. What would they? Does that make me gay because I said accoutrement? I'm like, no, did I use? Are you gonna Are you gonna rat me out to Mark fucking Cuban?
No,
because I said accoutrement. Oh, do you think I'm doing it to try to make myself sound smart?
Maybe.
It's just the fucking word.
Maybe.
It's just the word.
Accoutrement. Now I got to put it up on a fucking picture from dictionary.com so everybody understands what accoutrement is. Okay,
it's just the word. It's just the right word.
What does it mean?
You'll see it's
what
the
does
right
it mean?
word.
What's the definition?
You're going to look up the definition.
But tell me the definition.
Look up the definition. It's just like peripheral things that are complementary to the larger picture. The accompanying gear,
accessories,
things, right? Yeah, accessories.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like a more, I guess it's a more highfalutin way of saying
Jesus
accessories.
Christ. Okay. Yeah.
Is highfalutin bad?
You know it is.
Highfalutin?
Oh my God, we're getting.
It's like an old word. That's like a 40. Like, oh, here they come. You see the cast member with the highfalutin statuses in business. Like transatlantean speak. You know, highfalutin. I don't think highfalutin is like a fancy word.
It's not fancy. What the fuck, highfalutin? I've never heard that in my life.
You've never heard highfalutin?
I've never heard that. I will be honest.
You're gonna hear it now. You're gonna start hearing it.
I seriously doubt it.
I'm gonna pass out.
I seriously doubt I'm gonna hear it.
I think my vocabulary, I think, also seems to make me gay to certain people. It's like, why? That is the dumbest shit.
It's just stereotypes.
I'm a late bloomer.
Let it go. Just fucking let it go.
I think there's a lot of things that I have let go, but again, you got me stirred up. What did I do? This to me sometimes.
So so our good friend that said, "Hey, is he gay?" I'm like, "He's not gay. He's not gay." And then I started thinking, "Wait a minute. What if he is gay and I just don't know he's gay?" But no, you're not gay. And I told her he's not gay. And everybody looked at me and I said, "No, trust me, guys. He's not gay." So whatever. Not that it matters if you were, but that same friend, right? These are good friends that we know from Portugal, and we were having dinner with them, and we've been good friends for a while. They're like our really close friends. We had dinner with them, and she says, "Hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but my mom used to be a famous bank robber in Portugal."
Wow.
Yeah. Like 12, 13, 15 years ago or something. And I was like, what? Like,
we don't get a lot of Portugal news here. So no.
Well, no, exactly. I'm like, I've never, and then like, she's like, yeah, she used to be called the Black Widow. and it's a whole thing. You can look it up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? We've been friends for how long? And you never explained how badass your mom was, right? So like they've
Is
been
the
kind
mom
of
gone?
so the mom is still around. They kind of
She's
I don't
incarcerated?
know if you what the term is. They're not separated, but they kind of had a
Estranged.
estranged kind of strained relationship. For they didn't talk for many years or whatever. And she recently saw her mom. And but they don't really talk, you know what I mean? Because I guess, your mom's a bank robber and she's, you know what I mean? There's other things that probably your mom is doing in her life that, you're probably
Did her
not.
mom, so they hadn't seen each other in a long time.
Long time. And so she just saw her mom again
And then
recently.
did the mom steal her wallet? Or
I didn't ask. I don't think so. I think she was stealing maybe for the
piss
family.
you off.
But yeah, it's like she would go into banks and she was successful. She was successfully robbing banks. And I thought to myself, like,
yeah,
that's badass. Like my first reaction wasn't like, oh, you poor thing. Like, oh, that's a shitty thing that your mom was a bank robber, right? My first reaction was like, damn, like I don't have anything like that in my life where it's like, holy shit. Like my mom wasn't the Black Widow. I mean, my mom was the opposite of the Black Widow. My mom was like,
as far as you know, but let me ask you this. Did you ask this is one of the questions that I would ask. How did you come to learn that your mother was the Black Widow? Did you know she was actively Black Widowing?
That wasn't my mom.
Like,
oh, you're saying I should have asked her?
You should have asked the friend. This is the natural question. I think, in my mind, I'm like, I would want to know, what was your experience like? So did you know mom was like, oh, mom's not home today. I better make myself lunch because she's out doing a Black Widow caper. She'll be home later.
No, I want to say.
But it's like she found out after she got arrested or something. Like,
yeah.
Like, how did it? You don't know this because you didn't ask this question.
No, she told us, but I think I was so kind of
you want to get her on the show?
No, but I think I was so kind of like stricken by like, oh shit, your mom was a bank robber. Like,
you saw her like a Robin Hood, like a superhero type. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
like she didn't hurt anybody. I don't think she had a gun or carried a weapon. I don't think.
Did she wear a costume?
I think she had a mask or something. And I think
she dressed as like Richard Nixon. I wouldn't make a lot. I wouldn't play him well in portrait.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I don't know, but like apparently they made like a documentary and a movie about this, and her mom was like, because her mom's out and like free, not in jail or whatever, and her mom like wrote a book or like assisted on the film or something, and was like a, you know what I mean, and it was like a whole thing, and I'm like,
were they
holy
allowed
shit.
to profit? Did you ask if they were allowed to profit from?
I don't. Yeah,
these escapades.
Now I got to get into a whole conversation.
Civil debt?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Whoa.
But now I'm gonna have to ask.
Do you feel comfortable enough asking now, or do you feel like I'll let them volunteer what they want to volunteer?
I can ask. I'm gonna ask.
You can ask.
Because now I'm curious.
Okay.
Like, yeah, wait a minute. Does she have to pay back the money she stole? And I don't think it was a lot. I don't think it was millions of dollars. So it wasn't like money heist. You know what I mean? It was just a simple caper. This was just more like, hey, I need some cash. Hand it over, right? And then booked it out of there with not a lot of money probably, but whatever. She did enough of them where she got a label, she got a title, she got a nickname, the Black Widow, which is pretty awesome, right? We didn't do any housekeeping, Josh. Housekeeping. Because last time we did our episode, we were at...
It was 1075.
1075. And now, at the start of this, we were at 1,370. 1370.
Hey. Oh, wow.
So,
hey, all right.
People are subscribing and liking, and people are watching, and we appreciate it. But like and subscribe. Keep it going. We appreciate people on the journey with us. It's great.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You didn't ask me at the start of the show, like, hey, buddy, how are you? I would have said, hurting, body hurts. Body is aching. Why? Then you would say,
why?
But Josh, why is your...
Why does your bum ache?
My bum?
Yeah, well, you said...
My body.
Oh, okay.
My bum. Why do you always turn it into something like that?
Part of your body. Why is it sore?
Okay, my bum is not one of the parts
sore?
That's hurting.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Well, you go immediately to a sore bottom. I'm just... My body hurts. It's not the only part of your body. What do you... I can imagine you envisioning people as just like asses with other things attached.
Why is your body sore, Josh? So we're going to get into the whole thing. You did something and you made yourself sore, and I would say, go get a massage. And you're going to go, oh my God, no, I don't want someone touching my body and all that shit.
The only thing that would make a massage worse is if they put on The Notebook while I was having it done. Hey, fuck everybody.
Yeah, and for me, it would be the Master and Commander movie. That I would jump out a window.
2 screens, Master and Commander and The Notebook and a fucking massage. No, thank you, everybody.
It's been fun.
Well, I hope you get some good sleep tonight, and
Me too.
you get some good rest. You know, you need it as you get older.
You too. Get your ass to sleep.
All right.
It's been good talking to you. Take care.
Good to
Love
see
you.
you. Bye. Love
See
you
ya.
too. Bye.